Ashe Moloi, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good day, Ekaso, to everyone listening to us. Bonjour, all over Africa. We greet you. We welcome you to this beautiful show. We are coming to you live from Victoria here in South Africa. It's going to be a lovely time here in the studio, and it's going to be an interactive section, as we'll be having one of our very own all the way to Tanzania in Dar es Salaam with us in the studio, that we about things that have to do about Africa, the progress, the challenges, the progress that we are expecting in the future, and how we can migrate in the current generation into the reality of the day and build a better future for the incoming generation on this live program, reality talk show, with one of our very own advocates, Massawe. We will be having this conversation with him all the way from Tanzania. Thanks to everyone liking this program, sharing this program. Please, as you are coming in, please share this program. Let it go viral. Let everyone know that we are having a beautiful conversation here. It's time for us to have a progressive conversation that will change the face of who we are, that will reinterpret who we are to the other part of the world, that will showcase the beauty of Africa and the good things in Africa, so that the other parts of the world will take us serious and see the glory that God have created with us. It's a beautiful time here in Victoria. It's 2 o'clock here in Victoria. It's 3 o'clock in Tanzania, and it's 1 o'clock in Nigeria. Thanks to everyone joining us. It's a beautiful time here. I welcome everyone to this great program. My name is Joshua Oludare Oluson. I'll be the moderator of this program, as we'll be having conversation around things that is happening in Tanzania. Let me use this time to welcome one of our very own into the studio here in South Africa, Victoria, Advocate Massawe, all the way from Tanzania in Dar es Salaam. Welcome to this beautiful program. How are you today?
Thank you, Joshua, for welcoming your studio and your program. Me, I can send Swahili. Jambo everyone. Shikamoo mabibi na mabwana. Nimefurahi kuwa hapa, ni kipindi cha Kiafrika. So I'm starting with my Swahili. If you know ABC of Swahili, you can catch up with. So jambo everyone.
Thank you very much for that beautiful greeting there. It's One Africa. We have to be proud of our language. It's time that Africa needs to design a common language that will unite us, that we can speak, that we can communicate with. And I love yours did now. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation to be on this radio station to have this conversation as advocate and as one of the to a community leader in the society where you are. Thank you very much. A lot of people will be looking at you in all over the world. They are listening to you in Africa, in Nigeria, in Senegal, in Ghana, in East Africa, in North Africa, in Southern Africa. Everywhere people are listening to you. In the rest part of the world, in Europe, Western Europe, in America, in other parts of the world, they are listening to you and they want to know who you are, what you do, and which post you hold in the society. Can you please introduce yourself fully to our people?
Okay, thank you. I'm a human rights lawyer working in Dar es Salaam, and I'm working with a famous organization called the Legal and Human Rights Center, and I'm the director of advocacy and reforms. And my main duty at the organization is to advocate for reforms of the laws and the policies which affect our people daily. So that's the main program which I've been overheading in the organization. I also undertake some briefs, especially the legal aid. So my main duty, apart from those of reforms, is to pursue state litigations in court and providing legal aid to the indigents. For the people who cannot afford the legal services, so I've been providing legal aid. That's one of my portfolio I'm holding in the organization. So I have that access of meeting poor people, because once you are providing legal aid, you work closely with the poor people, and you can see the problem which happened on the grassroots and how bad policies and the laws are affecting people, or sometimes the issues of the good governance and the malmanagement. So it's position which has brought me very close to the people and working close to the community where I'm coming from.
Great, great, great. Thank you very much. I like that which you just said now, the portfolio that you actually hold. There's a lot that we are going to be discussing on this program. Let me just quickly give you the background for those people that is listening to us that we know, likes to know what we are doing. We are going to be discussing about the issue that have to do with African language, African culture, and the challenges facing the ordinary African citizen daily in all African country. Also, we are going to be talking about the current situation in Tanzania, where you are, what government is doing, kind of improvement that we are expecting, and are we getting what we are expecting, and how we are going to picture the Africa to the next generation, especially to lay a good foundation now for our incoming generation, for them to see the beauty of Africa and the good things about Africa. Most especially if you look at African continent, you will realize that the Western world, they were using their media platform to take our children into their ideology by having all these cartoons that our children waking up from age of one to age of 12, 15. All they see is cartoon, Western cartoon, and speaking English, and that is the only thing that is happening. How African media as well is going to be portraying the African ideology in our cartoons and in the reality, and those are the things that we'll be discussing as well. Thanks to everyone that is watching us. I know Ellen is watching us from Kaduna in Lagos, and Sheikh Idris is also watching us here in Victoria, South Africa. And kudos for the great job that we are doing in the studio. Welcome to this beautiful program. Let us start this way. I may ask, who is Advocate Massawe?
Yes, as I've just said that, coming from Tanzania and the work I've been doing, it has brought me to the close to know even the history of the Africa. So as I've told you that the portfolio I'm handling and looking at the African liberation struggle, Tanzania has been one of the country of example for being the country which was the spearhead of liberation struggle in the southern part of Africa and the rest of Africa. And Mwalimu Nyerere was the champion of the Pan-Africanism. And with those movements which have been there since independence time, they have shown us as a peaceful country, and it has been demonstrated to be known so. That's how you can see that while the Great Lakes zone in nearby countries, they've been going through the civil wars and some other unrest, civil unrest, and the bad management of political and elections, fracas. You have found that Tanzania has been like is like a refuge for some of the people who are suffering from the nearby country. So Tanzania has been that kind of the country which is known for that, apart from tourism and some other attractive places. So our peaceful country, the way we have been, it has been our ideology. I like the program talking about Africa, how Africa has been portrayed by the West. So it's unfortunate that we don't have the strong media which portray the image of Africa. We have the very disaggregated countries which have their own agenda, which cannot go internationally. So at the end of the day, you'll find that most of the media, they are covering issues which can be held internally. But we are lacking something strong like Al Jazeera or CNN or BBC, which can paint the image of all of Africa. You know what? In some countries where we have been hearing things, good things, how the progress they are, how good the policy they are, how development they have been, they have the media which are branding. So the only thing which Africa is lacking is branding. So we have the media which cover only negative sides of Africa, covers civil, covers hunger, covers underdevelopment parts. But if you have opportunity to visit, like what is happening in America now, it is not something new. It's just a climax of some people who've been going through. They've been suffering for since times immemorial because these are the product of slavery. And there is no any history showing anywhere people have ever been compensated for the suffering they went through during time of the slavery and everything. Those people were set free after saving and building the country, but they were never given even the land. So the people have been suffering, they've been segregated. So we have seen this movement ever since. We have seen some Africans being killed because they consider they don't have home to go. So that's the only thing. Africa as Africa was supposed to stand together, build a strong idea of Kwame Nkrumah, Mwalimu Nyerere, and recently of Gaddafi. To have the Africa as a refuge for African descent. So for them, they can come back home because we still have a lot of opportunities and the resources which these people, once they they can't withstand those suffering, segregation, racial discrimination, prejudices, and some other things. They can have somewhere else where they can return to. The only problem that Pan-Africanism, it has been an idea which has never materialized. So if we have the Pan-Africanism which can stand together and have the spearhead, someone who can lead us through, that we can have somewhere people they can come and claim their home. So that's why we see that Africa and the people of Africa are suffering because they don't have somewhere to go. Because Africa, we have failed them somewhere, especially when we fail to carry on the agenda of Pan-Africanism, to have the country which is strong, to have people of Africa somewhere they can call home, to have them to trace back their roots so that they can enjoy or for them be human beings. We believe that we have a lot of international instruments which consider all people are born free and equal. But when it comes to practice, in some areas we've seen people have been discriminated, racially discriminated, prejudiced, and some other mistreatment. So that's how I can see Africa. But what I need for the media like yours, if they have that coverage of international, is how now to start painting the good image. Apart from all atrocities we've gone through, slavery, colonialism, racism, racial discrimination, poverty, and everything. But we still have a lot of good things in Africa. I know you are in South Africa. You can see a lot of quotations. I know you are coming from West Africa. there is a lot of potential in East Africa. We have minerals, we have forests, we have oils, we have everything. We have animals. So in terms of the richness of Africa, I don't think there is any continent which can come close, because we have a lot of unexploited resources which are still there. So we have to rebrand Africa to become Africa for all, especially the descendants of Africa.
Very much for that response. I like the way you come in. Thank you so much for that. You have mentioned a lot of things, especially when you're talking about the Pan African and the rest. I'm putting points on them, and we are going to discuss all that as well. But let me start this way. Your country have been one of the peaceful country in Africa, and have been one of the country that do things differently, most especially during the COVID-19. We saw your president went to the mountain praying for the country instead of being panicking, instead of calling for lockdown, or instead of telling the people of the country to go and hiding themselves. He put it on himself to go to the mountain and start praying for the country and start giving them the word of encouragement regarding COVID-19 and the rest. Tell me, what is the current situation now in Tanzania regarding COVID-19?
You know what? This is a novel virus. It is not known. So sometimes there is a lot of try and error, or some of the guidelines which are being given. They are more or less of try and error. So for us as Tanzania, our presidents tried to choose the worst case scenario where people they can see this like a madman. But sometimes you can see it is working. Like in the lockdown, you can't lock down forever. And as I've told you, the Africans suffered a lot. And one of the suffering we have today is poverty. And the poverty, it by itself is a problem, which we've been living with it since we were born. So if someone is living in the poverty, it means that this person has the hand to mouth production per day. So when you are saying that you want to lock down people, it means you have to feed them. But sometimes you have to be realistic. Are you in the position to do this? And this being a novel virus, so no one knows how it mutates, how it is transmitted, and sometimes even the guidelines which are given at the beginning of WHO and some other health experts, they proved to be wrong at the beginning. So everyone was just doing try and error. So for us, we chose the worst case where people could see that Tanzania becoming mad. But in terms of combating COVID-19 in Africa, Africa has proved the WHO. First of all, they are expecting that most of Africa at this time there will be a lot of death. People are being buried day in, day out. But what has happened in Africa totally is contrary to what people were expecting. But sometimes we can say that we have become like a pigeon hole. That when we volunteered to do contrary to what other people were expecting, we could show some other countries that they could leave this lockdown. The lockdown is not working, and see that they can opt to do like with the minimum implementation of measures which has been given with WHO without locking people down. So it's a matter of adhering to hygiene, washing your hands, wearing masks, sanitizer, and everything, or avoiding big crowds. So that's what Tanzania opted for instead of lockdown. So, and the only problem is, as I've told you, that with our struggling economy, they could see that we cannot afford feeding these people. You are avoiding people to die from COVID, but at the same time, you don't know the alternative because these people die with hunger. So we have two things which are hunting the human being. We have disease and we have hunger. So it was a matter of choice to risk it, combat the hunger, because COVID is a novel virus, it's not much known. So that's what we opted for. And somehow it is working. You can see people are stabilizing, the panic is gone. Because at the beginning, what was scaring people away and the people were running, others are hiding, others are locking themselves down without any instruction from the government. It was like a panic. So it was more of psychological disease than the disease itself. So, and I can tell you, Joshua, there is a time that when you hear a lot about this COVID-19, there is time you can develop symptoms by feeling by yourself. You say, oh, I have this pain. So it was a matter of inflicting fear. So once we stood up and say this is also this disease can be defeated by psychological preparation, for us, for that, we managed to do that because we prepared people psychologically. This is just another disease. We just follow the measures because we have HIV, we have malaria, we have a lot of diseases. But people are taking precaution where it is necessary. So it's the same. That's why we say that we have agreed to live with COVID-19 with taking necessary measures to avoid the transmission, to avoid the worst case scenario that how can we live with it at the same time we can survive by having something on the table to eat. Otherwise, if you give COVID position and they go and lock down yourself, it means at the end of the day, you have the hunger you cannot combat. And some other development plan. You know that the current president has a lot of major development projects which are going on. And all these are the massive investment. So once you lock down the country, it means all these projects they are going to halt. And when you have the massive investment, you are expecting the return in a very short time. So once you lock down, it means even this project will be halted. So it will have very bad impact on the economy and the people. So that's the worst path we chose.
Thank you very much for that quick response and for that beautiful answer there. Thank you so much. A lot of things are happening around this, and I don't want us to dwell so much on it, but I want us to just make sure that we touch it and we discuss it for us to be able to pick up one of two important lessons in it that we can learn in going forward. When we look at the situation of the COVID-19 in Africa, a lot of people say that Africa is not designed to be a country or a continent that will be locked down because of our way of life. If you look at the percentage of Africa, almost 85% of Africa needs to wake up in the morning, hustle, and bring the food back home late in the night. But if you lock them up, there is no way they can be able to survive. And the country that have practiced it, they have seen the result of it because their economy is already being affected. A lot of people is already in big debt as we speak. In your own view, as advocate, do you think that the woman rights when it comes to African citizens have been jeopardized by locking them down in some part of Africa?
Yeah, when it comes to the human rights, we have been doing some analysis of the effect of COVID-19 on human rights. This one I cannot I can't lie about it or be going around and bit that things have been good. Sometimes when you want to combat this disease, you have to suppress the freedom of expression because the problem with development and the freedom of expression, now everyone is a journalist and everyone is an expert. So we have a lot of information coming now. So what has been done in most of the Africa and the world is to crack down this freedom of expression. So one of the area which has suffered most in terms of human rights abuse is the freedom of press, expression, and the media. That's the people who have suffered a lot. Even here, we can experience a few cases where people have been in trouble because of disseminating wrong information or disseminating information from the authority. So that's area where we can see the human rights abuse. But we have seen in some countries where there was a lockdown, there is a people who have been beaten for going out in the street or for not following the curfew which were given. So we have seen in some country already even killing people before even the COVID itself killing people because of combating these strict measures which have been applied in some other countries. So, and all this we can term them as a part of the human rights abuse. So the human rights abuse came in different forms, policy brutality, media, and the journalists being at, at target. So apart from life of the people being in danger, so most of the states of almost each and every state. They didn't take decisive measure which people could understand so that they cannot be at the locked in such a way that they are going to violate some of the basic rights of these people. So the problems or the violation can vary from one country to another depending on the nature of the measure which were taken. I want to give the example of mentioning countries, but you can see in some other countries how police brutal they have been, how people have been extrajudicially killed just because they want to combat or to force people to follow the measures which the certain countries applied in combating COVID-19. So, in terms of human rights violation, we cannot lie about it. It's held with a lot of human rights violation. And we saw that schools are closed and even the other services have been closed. So also we can say those are some of the partial lockdown by looking at the area where there is a serious risk of transmission of the disease. But we have the problem now. When we are talking about human rights abuse, we have two categories of abuse. State abuse, which is like 80%, when according to the study, and 20% of violations of human rights is violated by the people by themselves. So you can see all these children right now who are back home are not in school. Some of them their rights have been violated. Some will be beaten, some will be married, some will be sexually harassed. So it's something which is going within the community. Of course, we can say one thing. I can say one thing. As Africa, we have gone through a lot. So to us, COVID-19 can be just like a tip of the iceberg because we have gone through slavery. Slavery, Africans were commodities. They are not human beings. So even when you claim your rights, you cannot have rights for commodities. We have gone through the colonialism, which is the worst form of governance. We have been in poverty. We have suffered a lot of diseases. We have Ebola in the same time. We have malaria all over Africa. We have so many diseases, even cholera and malnutrition-related diseases. We have been racially discriminated. So this COVID-19 is something because of the exposure of the difficult environment. People, they are easy to conquer this. That's why you can see the number of cases in Africa generally. It's far lower compared with the Western country, Asia, and Europe. So you can see, because of the experience, or the God Himself said that these African people suffer a lot. Now this COVID, people will, if it is stuck them the way it is stuck in the rest of the Europe and America, for example, it will be very unfair because we suffered a lot. We are talking like in the case of Moses, or the case of Moses in the Exodus, we could see the children of Israel. They suffered a lot in Israel in Egypt. So that's why God protected them to make sure that they see the promised land. He said that Israel have suffered a lot because of the slavery in Egypt with the Pharaoh. So the God protected them because He could see they have gone through a lot. So that's what I can see in Africa. They've been through a lot. So with this one, the God has spared us. Hopefully, there is no second wave. Like the study shows, the Spanish flu, first wave didn't kill, but the second wave is what killed a good number of people. When people thought that everything settled, is when the people came out. So with my message, I don't mean that they can go down in the street and stop following measures which have been given by the professionals and the WHO and other actors on that area. So people have to be careful, regardless of the number of cases we experience in Africa. We must follow measures, social distancing, masking, sanitizing, washing hands, and everything to make sure that we protect ourselves because we have that opportunity of having the big land in Africa. In Africa is where you can find, I don't know, we have only problem with South Africa and Namibia, but in Africa is the only place you can find even a very poor person has the piece of land. It's not the same in Europe or in America. Once you are called poor in America, it means even the rich in America and Europe, they don't have land. Land belongs to the few. So here, By the mere essence that we have land, it means that we have enough space to keep that social distancing. That's the crowd in Africa. We don't have the culture of living in blocks or in apartments. So we have that advantage. It means if we can use resources, our resources wisely, it means they can help us even combating this disease and see how we can maintain this social distancing. Because we don't live in crowd like in some other major cities. You can't compare cities in Africa like major cities like New York or Shanghai or London or something like that. Those are the cities which will find more than 20 million in the same city. But you come to Dar es Salaam, one of the biggest cities, the rest in Tanzania, but you find there are 6 million people. So we have that advantage of having big land with less population. Because when we are talking about population now, we are looking at the ratio of the land, geographical area, and number of people. So if we have that opportunity, it means that we have to exercise that social distancing by benefiting from the geographical land which we have, which is massive.
Thank you so much for that response. I like what you say. Something come up from what you are saying when you're talking about the African using our own resources. When you look at this COVID-19, Africa actually tried to play a very big role. If you see what's happened in Madagascar, Madagascar come up with a kind of a solution of a herb make locally, but it seems not to be embraced by the world Health Organization. Do you think they are underrate Africa as a part of the world that they are not expecting solution, or why is it not been embraced by every part of the world and bring out as a solution to this COVID-19 issue?
You know what? Africa has been there before even colonial interaction. Even before whites came into Africa, Africa was there. It means Africans, they had their way on of life, which in some areas, or where I'm coming from in my hometown, they still practice some of those way of life which they used to have. So we have our traditional medicines. Only problem is, I was telling you, is about the branding our own products. Even like our own religions, they are considered not civilized religion. The same is our medicine. So once the medicine is not tested by the Western and it meets the criteria which they consider, so they don't think it is a medicine. So to me, it was an opportunity to them to come to Africa to study our local medicine. We have a lot of local herbs and everything. And most of the medicine, by the way, in the world, they come from the plants. So the only thing Africa is experienced is our medicine. They've never been that much branded, or they've never been prepared in that civilized manner for them to be attacked and say, oh, this is the medicine. But we have our own traditional medicine, which we consider useful. Of course, if I go to my hometown, if my grandma is there, if she's sick, she has suffering stomach ache or something like that, she knows what kind of the herb to chew, and eventually she'll get better. So the only problem we have is our medicines are not documented. There is no scientific study which have carried out on this medicine for them to be recognized. So that's the only thing we are missing. And I'm going back to the branding, because Western have managed to brand their products, their religion, their medicine, everything which comes from West, consider the best. It's the same that we have a lot of cows here. We we have a lot of dairy products. But once you see the pack, the chocolate or the milk in the tin or something like that, or in the sachet, you consider that as the best because it is from West. But we have the raw milk, which has a lot of nutrients, which has never gone through the process. But the only problem now is the local branding. So the only thing that, I want to mind you, Joshua, medicine is one of the biggest business in the world. And there was someone, I read somewhere, even malaria, it is a Western propaganda to show that the rate of malaria in Africa is so big in such a way they can generate more funds, AIDS funds and something like that, for pharmaceuticals to produce more medicines for Africa to show that malaria is a serious problem. Because if you see the number of studies showing the people who are dying by day, because of malaria. Even within your family, I think you could have experiences a death within 2 or 3 days, or within, because the number of the people are dying within 1 minute, 6 people, while you see yourself, the people around you, you can count how many have died with malaria. So it is like a big propaganda, because medicine is a business. So once you say that Madagascar medicine can cure COVID-19, I think Madagascar could have been richer than most of the Arabic countries, which are rich of oil, because it could have been the run of point. And what Madagascar is doing, the kind of the herb they are using, it's available all over Africa. It's a matter of branding like Coca-Cola or something like Pepsi, and people they will start producing within Africa. What does it mean? It means you are going to create a lot of foreign investment or foreign currencies in Africa, because the medicine is available in Africa. So for us to be in the position to beat this propaganda, we needed to carry the scientific research, to follow the procedure, international standard, to show that this medicine can cure or can help people to just to reduce the effect of COVID-19. Because I can see even some of the medicine is not necessarily is curing people, but if it can stabilize you and overcome this problem, it is helpful. So for us, with Western media, with pharmaceuticals, I don't see anything coming from Africa being seen as a need. So with the propaganda and everything, it's very hard to say whether the Madagascar medicine can be really said that it has the useful in combating COVID-19 or the curing COVID-19. Though sometimes we can consider those kind of medicine as food supplements sometimes. If you have food supplement which can make your immunity high or help you to overcome the disease, it's a plus to you. It can help you. We have seen this like this network marketing. They have a lot of these food supplements like aloe vera and something like that. Aloe vera is available all over Africa. If I ask you, I think you have it in your country. But the only thing which they've managed to do with aloe vera is just to brand it and to package it well and to put some flavors just to show if it is the toothpaste here, full flavor toothpaste and thing. But at the end of the day, it's aloe vera. If it's the gel, I'll the same. If it is the food for stomach or something, so it's a matter of branding and having those resources, or even packaging. So to me, I can't rule out the medicine from Madagascar because we didn't have enough. We don't have enough scientific research, and with the media, with Western propaganda and the pharmaceuticals in place, it's hard.
Thank you so much. We are in Africa where a lot of African citizen is facing a lot of challenges inside Africa, like discrimination between African nations. You see, Africa to Africa, we have a conversation like you are from recently we have some challenges in in South Africa regarding the other African country telling them to go back to their land and stuff like that. And outside Africa as well, in other parts of the world, you can see that African citizens have been mistreated. What just happened in America of a black brother being killed by the police. This has been happening all over Africa. What do you think it can be a permanent solution to this kind of situation in Africa and in other parts of the world?
For xenophobic attack in Africa, I can say this is it's more of the remnants of colonial. With the Berlin Conference of 1980 something, it created these boundaries which are not there. And to me, these boundaries are artificial. Africa is one. I'm coming from Tanzania. We have a lot of tribes in Tanzania, Masai, Luos, and Chaga, but you will find them with the same people in the other side of Tanzania, which is Kenya. You go to the western part, you'll find that the people coming from Kigoma around Lake Lake Tanganyika, and you go to Congo or to Rwanda and Burundi, you'll find the same people speaking the same language. So these are the people who has been separated by the colonial plan, which partitioned Africa. So it's a matter of having the proper education, because this is out of ignorance. These people think that they were created with a certain land, that is Nigeria, and this is Senegal, and this is Ghana. But it's not true. These things are so superficial. They are not there. So once you are told you are Ghanaian, you think that are better than Senegalese. Once you are told you are Senegalese, you say they are better than Ivorian, which is not true. We are all African. Just like when you go to Nigeria, you find there is Igbo, there is other tribes. So you consider yourself as African. So once we have proper education to our people, to understand that Africa is one, all these boundaries being told that I'm South African, that these are the Zimbabweans, so they are not allowed to be here. I think it's a matter of being brainwashed. And I think the other thing, it is the indication of the suffering people they've gone through. Because when they were segregated by the whites in South Africa, for example, and apartheid, they consider themselves they are suffering, when the rest in Zimbabwe, Tanzania, Mozambique, you were having a good time. Now it is, we have liberated ourselves, now you are coming here to enjoy our fruits. So it's a matter of feeling. These people should be given the proper education to understand. These people, they are just an African like any other. We have lots of African here. Most of investment in Tanzania, the foreign investment, number one is Kenya, number two investors is South African. So we live them as one community. They are African. So we benefit from each other. You have resources, you have your capital, you invest here, you enjoy the fruits together. It's the same. This African, this South African, they could see the same. This xenophobic attack is more or less of the ignorance. And you'll find that even those who are behind this xenophobic attack, they are illiterate people, people who didn't have the opportunity to go to school, or they don't understand much what is happening in the world. So if you have these people of this kind, because they have nothing to lose, that's why they can even put their life in danger by going to fight in the street, just to say that I'm fighting for my resources. But you tell them the truth. The land was taken by whites, the resources were taken by whites. Even if these other African countries are going to South Africa, for example, they are not taking anything. They're just complementing in building your economy. Not necessarily, because those people who are fighting the street, I don't see anyone who owns the junk of land. I don't see anyone who owns the industrial factory somewhere in Cape Town or in Johannesburg or Port Elizabeth. They are just the vendors in the street. So if you say that they're taking opportunity, you have to tell people which opportunity, which you cannot exploit. So we have another problem in the other hand, but we are blinding ourselves and see our neighbors as our enemy. So it's a matter of being brainwashed, and we need clear education to understand where the problem lies, so they don't come with thinking that the problems come from some other place, which is not related at all. And we see for the rest of the world, where we see like what is happening in America right now. This is very unfortunate, because it is something which has been there in memorial. Africans, they didn't go to America. They were taken to America. And when slavery was abolished, they were never taken back to Africa. So they remained in America because they were born in America. They've never been to Africa, because there was a business of slave trade for 244 years. So you expected these people, they build the economy of America. But these same people who build this economy of America for free, because they are not paid as slavery, now they are not allowed to enjoy the fruits of the labor of their own hands. So when the slavery was abolished, they are not given an opportunity. No person was compensated or given the chunk of land to say that now we have abolished the slave trade, take this land. So these people are set out in the street. It's like when you are keeping a pet in the house, they say, oh, pet, they're supposed to be free, and they let the pet go. The pet, they don't know how to hunt. They don't know anything. So they were supposed to be prepared or given opportunities. And once we consider America is the land of the migrants, because I believe the America belongs to the Indians. The rest of these people, the so-called whites, who they consider themselves as white supremacists, they are all the immigrants. You trace their background, you find most of them, they went there for opportunities in America. So they don't see Africans like they deserve to share those opportunities available there. So it's a matter of not thinking rationally that these people, they are also entitled of the fruits of this land, and this being land of opportunity. It just happened that I'm white. The only problem we see here, when Trump came into power, his agenda or his policy is making America great again. America has never been, it's always great. It has never been somewhere below what it is right now. But that people, they didn't understand the message. The message, it was about white supremacy. It means when the America was ruled for 8 years by the black person, Barack Obama, they consider like the value of America was lowered. So when they had this Trump in power, they thought that Trump is going to make us proud again. So it was about white supremacy policies. So that's why we can see all these are happening. And the people, they can say that what is happening in America right now because George Floyd was killed. No, this is a lot of suffering people they've gone through. It's like a climax. People, they've got the reason now to go to the street. And this is the same thing which happened in 1968 when Martin Luther King was killed. So America, to them, this is not a new thing. The suffering the African people have gone through, it made them even hate the Christianity. That's why you could see most of the Africans in America, they converted to Islam because they considered even the Christianity which is practiced by most of the Americans, they thought that is like a religion of oppression. If you believe in God, how come you segregate me? Because say all human beings are equal, and I'm human too. But we have the same picture which is painted to the white people. They consider Africa like a product because they are slavery. Slavery was sold like any other product. So when you are saying that I'm claiming my rights as a human being, all humans are born equal, they don't see Africans as a human being. They just see them as products. That's the problem. So once the people, they realize that Africans, they are human beings just like any other, they'll be treated equally just like any other white American. The study shows that even the opportunities in raising a black person in America, they don't get those opportunities like the white people. I have opportunity of studying death penalty and how to practice in America. I've been there several times. I could tell you that you got the death rows in America, like 90% are the black Americans. So they are considered the criminals by nature because they are born black. And a lot of prejudice because once you are accused of any kind of offense or any criminal offense, they consider that you committed it because you are black. Why the black American, they make 13% of the population in America. But prison, you go in prison in America, they make 40% of the population in prison. So it's almost half of the population. Why this minority are having the big number in prison? Because they are considered criminals. Once you are accused, there is a lot of prejudice. In America, a black person is guilty until innocent proved. So there is a negation of that presumption of innocence even in America. So by the study of that criminal justice by itself, by studying, looking at the opportunities, even going to school or having land or even being regarded as an American just like another, it's a clear indication that these people are not considered as human. I'm telling you, blacks started to vote in 1960s after Martin Luther King. They are not even allowed to vote. So you can say that you can see that how they were considered they are not human. So there is this racial segregation. There is this prejudice that once you are black, you have problems. So you have to prove. So it is a continuous. oppression, which have reached the climax now. People they are taking action because they are tired. So they are trying to express what they've suffered and what they've gone through. And it's a good thing, is the message coming, though the message is coming the very wrong way, but it's a good thing that the world has seen how bad policies they can be and how people can react to show how their tired they can be. So now you can see even China is issuing statement against America, that America should observe human rights. America should make sure that these people's rights are observed. So you can see where we are right now. China is accusing America of violating human rights. That, the good thing with the Americans, they have that hypocrite. If they don't like it, they won't show you. But if you are clever enough, you can find out that. But you go to East, like in China, the person doesn't like you because you are black. They show you that you don't like it. So it's good it's someone to show that I'm your enemy, that pretending I'm your friend, while deep down I can hurt you. So the hypocrites of the West is what killing the African people. Because they sometimes they pretend that we are equal, we love each other, but deep down they don't like that. But you go to the China, they show you that they don't like you. They want you here. But you know how to live with your enemy. So this is what African they've gone through. And that's why I'm telling you that African failed when we didn't manage to establish Pan Africa. To have the one country like Africa.
Advocate Massawe, sorry, I will be cutting you short because of our time. We have 1 hour for this conversation and we only have about 8 minutes to round up, and we still have a lot of questions that we still need to deal with. I know there's a lot of things that you have in mind that we need to explain, and as you are giving me this explanation, as I'm jotting it down, you are putting a light to a lot of things, and you are enlightening a lot of people out there regarding things that most of us doesn't know, and I really appreciate that. Let's quickly make it this way. I have about 2 questions that I want to put together now, and it's just yes or no answer. Do you support the protest that is going on in America now? Do you support that protest? Do you think it's necessary to have such protest?
Yes, I support. It's necessary.
Oh, great. Let's okay, no, it's fine. Let's look at Africa. Do you think the open trade that Africa is coming up with, do you think it's going to bring a solution to African economy?
I didn't get your question very well.
I'm talking about the free trade agreement that some of the African country already signed the free trade agreement. Do you think that will bring solution to the economic problem in Africa?
Of course, they will bring the solution to some of the African problem. When it's no longer like a village right now. So you cannot isolate yourself while you want to develop. You need a big market, and these agreements are very necessary for the economy.
Thank you so much. Africa is what we don't produce. We actually produce. We actually buy from other parts of the world. We consume things like food, like things that we're supposed to be producing in Africa, but we end up importing them back to Africa. What do you think it will be a solution to that?
Yeah, it's about industrialization. Like in Tanzania, we have a lot of forests. We harvest all these forests and export them to China. And at the end of the day, China will make furniture back there, and they'll take those remnants and pack them together and bring them back as furniture back. So what we need is to have the industrial revolution in Africa. We managed to have this colonial revolution that by liberating most of African countries. But we didn't go the second stage of liberating ourselves economically. So industries are the one of the area which we need to invest most for us to export not raw material, but the finished goods. So in Africa, we produce what we don't eat, but we eat what we don't produce, which is very wrong. And you'll find that most of the things you are taking from Africa, they are those which are the fine one, the nutritious one. So they are taken even if you are in dairy industry or you are producing meat for export. The best one is the one we are going to export. We have a lot of fisheries around Lake Victoria and the like. The best fish and the produce which are made from the lake, they are exported. The remnants are the ones who are consumed here. So we have that problem, that we don't consume the best. And we have not prepared ourselves to produce our own products. We are wearing all these shirts. They are Western made, but cottons are made here. What's wrong with us? We could have made this shirt from here because cotton is coming from here. You read this shirt is 100 cotton. But where is cotton? We produce cashew, for example. Tanzania is one of the 3 countries in the world that produce cashew. But all these cashew nuts are exported in raw. They are taken to Vietnam. Vietnam, they make chocolate, they make some other products, and they return it back and sell it in very expensive price. So we have that problem of not having the proper industries and the processed goods within our own African countries for maximum realization of profit of whatever we are producing. So we have been the land of the raw material. You go to Belgium, Belgium was built by Congo. All the raw materials and the gold and everything was taken from Congo, and Belgium enriched itself. It reached to it here because the Congo is Congo. It was the personal property of the King Leopold II. And he enriched himself to the extent you go to Belgium and study to see how much King Leopold did to Belgium, and all those were the goods or benefits he got from Africa and his Congo. So we have that problem of not benefiting of our own resources. We produce everything we export, and we expect to get very little from the West. So even the money which we get from exporting, at the end of the day, it will be taken back, because once we bring these goods back, they'll be sold to us at very expensive price. So at the end of the day, they take even the money which is exported. So we have that an equal balance of the trading and the opportunities which are not equal.
Advocate Massawe, let me just quickly step in there. I have this question for you. If you become African president, or let me start like this. If you become Tanzania president, what is it that you will do differently?
What I'll do then is different. Make sure, first of all, the resources in Tanzania, the beneficiary number one is the Tanzanian. So, and before reaching out to the outside the African continent, I'll make sure that there is no any other African country which cannot exploit that resource. Is when I'll consider the Western. Just like when you go to Europe, you go to the Europe, a certain country like you go to Belgium, you want opportunity. To then they consider that the first opportunity which is available be given to the fellow Belgian. If there is no any fellow Belgian who's coming from that country can benefit, they look at the European Union. So once they fail at the level of European Union, then they go outside. So we could have the same policy. So whenever you have the opportunity, you must consider the people of your own country. And when you don't have someone who can fill that position, you consider Africa. So before going beyond, so that's why I'm saying that we could have benefited more the resources we have than expecting a lot from the West. Otherwise, we could have built a very powerful continent, because in terms of resources and everything, Africa is very rich. But the only problem, these resources will be like a task to us. Like Congo and West, it is because of the richness they have. We can go to Libya, what they are going through, because of the potential of oil and everything they have. So sometimes, if we have these resources, and we don't have the good leadership, we expect a lot from the West, it turned out to be a curse to us. So that's why I'm saying that when you have resources, consider your own people within your country. If there is one who can benefit, at least look at the regional level.
Thank you so much, Advocate. Advocate, because of the time, thank you so much. I'm so sorry that I'm cutting you short. I know there's a lot that to say, but let's look at it. If you become African president, or if you become Nigerian president, because I mean, I'm saying that because of one of the strong country in Africa. They say that they are one of the leading economic country with so much mineral resources, with crude oil and everything. If you become a Nigerian president, what is it that you will stop? I mean, in Nigeria, what is it that you put in place for the progress of Africa?
Why do you have BP in Nigeria? Why don't you have the Nigerian Petroleum Company? Why do we have the wet market where you go and purchase the oil which you produce in Nigeria? Why don't you people come to Nigeria and buy the oil from you, the crude oil from Nigeria? So I could have built the refineries in Nigeria, everything Nigerian. So at the end of the day, even if you have the refineries, you have the petrol and diesel for people to consume within the country, it will save a lot of foreign expenditure. It means that you don't need foreign currency to go to buy oil from outside. It means you have internal resources which you don't need to. I visited Nigeria. I was wondering how comes the price of petrol in Nigeria it's almost the same like in Tanzania where we don't have crude oil. But I came to realize that all this crude oil is extracted from Nigeria, is taken from to the west, and you're going to buy it and return it back. So at the end of the day, you're exporting or you're exporting raw material and importing final product. So that's where we have these bad policies. Of course, the Western have taken the advantage of our ignorance. Once we are firm, the African as Africa stand together, believe that I'm from Angola. Angola, we have copper or we have gold. It means that gold will be processed here and this gold buy it for. In Zambia, we have copper. We say the copper will be produced here if it is any product made from copper. These people will come to the African market and not taking this product to the West, where there is the global market, the world market, where they determine the price. So the problem we produce, we don't even determine the price. The price is determined by the West. So we don't know what we get. At the end of the day, we are wasting a lot of resources. So to me, as a Nigerian, or I could have been Nigerian president, is to make sure the resources are processed within the country, and what we export is the final product. It means we make more money. You're not necessarily looking at the global. You look at the Africa as the market. It means for me to go to Saudi Arabia to buy oil, or going to Lagos to buy oil, I could have considered going to my brother. Or sometimes we can even build the pipeline from other countries from Nigeria. Like here in Dar es Salaam, we pipeline from Dar es Salaam to Lusaka, Zambia. So it is possible. And now we are building the pipeline from Kampala to Tanga in Tanzania. So it is easy even to connect these countries with the pipeline. So you produce oil in Nigeria, you transport it to some other countries in Africa. It's easy. So Africa by itself is enough market. So even the global will come to you. So once you are economically independent, my brother, everyone will respect you. So the thing which you are lacking, you don't have even the respect because we don't use our resources wisely. It depends so much on the West. We have technology, we have exposure, we have everything. But it's now time now because we stopped somewhere. In the 1950s and 60s, there was a lot of liberation struggle against colonialism. When we finish colonialism, we are supposed to go to the second step of economic emancipation of Africa, which never took place. That's where we failed. That we have countries that are celebrating 50 years of independence, but you see there's no development. The countries celebrating 60 years of independence, but still people are suffering. So we end up celebrating so much after independence and forget that we are supposed to go to the second stage of emancipating Africa economically. So that's where we fail. So even the African Union and the later on OAU and later on African Union, they didn't have policy in place showing that there were more on liberation struggle than the economic emancipation. It means when we finish the liberation struggle, all Africans now are independent, and we did away with OAU, Organization of African Union. Now we have African Union. It means the only message from the African Union, it was about economy. And
Sorry to cut you short there. Sorry to cut you short there. Since we are still talking about Africa, there is an interview that is trading on the media space, and one of the citizens of the Dubai was interviewed, and when he's talking, he gave an explanation that Dubai doesn't have what African continent has, or any country in Africa. He used Nigeria as a case study, that Dubai didn't have what they have in the case in the part of mineral resources. But there is one thing that they have, and that make them become a successful country, that they have a leader. Do you think Africa, we need to change the way our leaders have been, approaching to African case, or do you think is the best way we have a best leader in Africa? What is your thought about that? Since we are talking about African continent in general.
My friend, you are giving a very interesting example, and I'll give you an example of some other European countries. You go to Switzerland, they have nothing. You go to Luxembourg, they have nothing. You go to Belgium, they have nothing. It's the matter of the good leadership and the maximum utilization of the small resources you have, and how to build the good policies to attract more people to come to your country and invest and get more foreign coming. In Middle East, not only Dubai, they have only one, that place is the desert, my brother. They have only one product, which is oil. In Africa, you go to Nigeria, you don't have oil only. You have some other resources, but how have you developed yourself? Nothing. By oil itself, this country is developed. But you have oil, you have gold, you have copper, you have forest, you have fishery, you have farm, but still, you are not developed. It means to them, they had only one option, that we have only one resource, and we have to make optimal utilization of this resource. So to us, even, for example, I take example of Tanzania. I could have said that, let freeze each and everything, stick to one business. Let's extract gold and sell gold. If gold is not paying, good Tanzanite. Tanzanite is failing, we go to diamond. It means even these so many resources, sometimes they are confusing us. Because I'm telling you, in Tanzania, we have almost each and everything. We have gas, natural gas. So you don't see how much are we getting out of it, because we didn't make optimum utilization of these resources. So it's better to stick to one product which will identify as a country. You say Nigeria for crude oil. How can we make this country bigger and experience some more benefits from oil before looking to some other resources which are available? So that's the only place where we have been failing. We have so much resources and we don't know how to make use of them. But in Middle East, they have only one product and one resource, which is oil. They have desert for the rest of the country. So they're not even farms. They import everything. But still, these countries are rich because it's the matter of the policies, the leadership, and the understanding or use of technology for these people to understand themselves that we don't have benefit, then we have to make use of whatever we have for development.
Thank you very much. In going forward, because we already exhausted our time, for those of you that are listening to us, thank you so much for joining this Africa Radio, your one-stop media house where everyone have a say, your lion voice. Thank you so much for joining us. We expect you to share this program. Let it go viral. We are discussing a very, very crucial information, a very, very crucial topic here regarding the African continent and some challenges facing Africa. In going forward, I just want you to quickly do me a kind of favor so that we can round up this. You will do some wrap up, and before that, I just want you to give an advice to African leader and African citizen on our culture, language, and economy.
I didn't get your question very well.
What I'm saying is that before we do a wrap up, I just want you to give an advice to African leader, African citizen, and on our language, our culture, and on our economy. Just an advice to the leader, to the citizen on economy, our language, and our culture?
Yeah, to the leaders, they should give priority to their people. Whatever they are doing, whatever the policy they are coming from, whatever the law they are making, they make sure that they give priority to their people. So whatever they're implementing, they should put their people first. For the Africans, they should choose their leader wisely. Sometimes we choose leaders and go and blame that they are not delivering. But sometimes the bad leader is a reflection of the bad society. So you should reflect ourselves and see, I should not vote for you because you are coming from the same religion with me, or you are coming from the same tribe with me. You'll choose someone because he can deliver. So it is something which we need to work on. On the African culture, we should be proud of ourselves, brand ourselves, show our culture is the best, so that even the West can take it from us. So even our language is a part of our culture. Let us be proud of our language. Let's make use of it. It is shame that you'll come to some other countries like in East Africa, you'll find that Tanzania and Kenya they're speaking Swahili, and a little part of Congo and Burundi. But you'll go to Uganda, it's hard to find someone speaking Swahili because they feel ashamed of speaking Swahili. So it's better to have that kind of unifying factor, because language is one of the tools which can unify people. So it's to us to understand yourself, to be proud of our own. Even when we are saying that we have to use our resources, even our culture is part of our resource. So we must be proud of ourselves, love Africa, brand our own African things, identify ourselves as Africa. I can give some very bad example. We are told polygamous in Africa is bad, but how many bad things we have received from West? You see, so those are some of the things we should learn. Even our religion, we are told that it's a civilized religion. So we took the religion from the West, but how bad this religion has taken us. I can see our ancestors were so fearful of whatever they believe in, like compared with what people they are practicing right now. Because whatever we are doing is superimposed. We don't believe in it. We are prepared to believe in it. But there are things which we are born to believe in. But still, we don't believe in it. We are looking for something comes from outside. So we better be of more inward looking than outward looking. Let us love Africa, embrace our Africa. Let us love everything coming from Africa before consider anything coming from outside of Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In conclusion, before you do a wrap up, do you think democracy is the best way of government in Africa?
Yeah, even democracy is the way we have. Democracy is not like a bottle of Coca-Cola, which have the similar taste from Dar es Salaam in Atlanta, in Georgia, or come to Cape Town or Pretoria. It's the same. Sometimes this democracy can be defined according to the local setting. And sometimes it's been difficult to understand the African democracy because of background. But without the true democracy, African democracy, understanding ourselves, will be still a major problem on our development. We have our constitutions, we have our laws, and sometimes the laws are made to suit the environment people are coming from. You cannot have the law in China, which is the same the law in South Africa or the same in Nigeria. So every setting, the law made, the constitution must be made to reflect the community under which it's supposed to serve the people. So our democracy should be a core source of our development. So when we want the real democracy, we should look at our laws and make our laws according to our local setting.
Thank you very much. Can we just quickly do a wrap up of what we have discussed so far so that we can just conclude on this? I will still bring you back into this program because we still have a lot we need to talk about. But Advocate Massawe, it's my great pleasure having you in the studio. Wrap up, we have discussed the issue of the African economy, and we have also discussed about the issue of the African free trade agreement. We also talking about the leaders in Africa, and we also talk about the language and the culture in Africa. We also talking about the challenges that is facing the African citizen in other parts of the world, like what happened recently in America. And we also talk about how Africans need themselves, how we need to unite, how we need to use our resources to develop our continent. As well, we talk about the African leaders should put the African citizen first in everything they were doing so that we can build a better African future. And then we also talk about the going forward for Africa. Africa, we need ourselves. Africa, we need to embrace ourselves. Africa, we need to embrace our culture, our ideology, and what unites us than to be looking at what divides us. The statistics, the system they use, the tactics they use for us is divide them to rule them. So it's time for us to win that sleep and make ourselves one and build a better African continent. Why are we putting this program together? Is for us to discuss about some certain issue that needs to be discussed and talk about the way forward so that we can create a better future for the incoming generation. Because if this generation fail to get it right, it will be so difficult for the incoming generation, especially in Africa, in area of language and in area of culture. Let's embrace ourselves and let's see why God put us together. Those are the wrap up of what we are discussing. I don't know if you have some other things you just want to put into the wrap up that I just put on the spotlight. Maybe I missed one or two things.
No, Joshua, I have nothing to add, but thank you for hosting me in your show. It's one of the favorite, so I can see that because you are talking about Africa and he's saying that we have to brand Africa to be known in the world. You know that each and every country has the bad side. Every continent has its own problems. But why don't we talk the good side of Africa generally? So there is a need to brand Africa. That's what I wanted to add in your roundup.
Thank you so much.
Brand Africa for the good things we have. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. That's a very good point. Brand Africa. Thank you so much. And if you want to do that, that starts with every one of us. Let's start embracing buying African, the cloth made in Africa, the shirt made in Africa. Let's try to be using that. Let's try to be supporting local thing made in Africa. And that will bring a good development to our economy and to our society. God bless you, really good. Thank you so much, Advocate Massawe. It's my great pleasure having you in the studio. You are doing a great job there, and the community, they are giving kudos to you for being the voice of the people in Tanzania. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your coming to this program. I hope next time when we call you to come to this program, you will be very happy to be here.
Oh, thank you, Joshua. And thank you for your time. Stay blessed.
Thank you so much. You didn't answer my question. The next time we call you, I hope you will be happy to be here. If we call you next time, I hope you will be happy to be part of our show.
No problem. I'll be available. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Thank you so much. Do have a very good day. I'm regards to everyone in Tanzania, in Dar es Salaam, where you are. God bless you, really good. Keep on sharing it. Keep on talking about it. It's live on Facebook. Go to Facebook, share it, let it go further. The link already been sent to you on your program. But before I let you go, I know there is something in your mind. There are some people in your life that they are so valuable to you. I want to give you this chance to say a shout out to them, to people that have been the kind of support to your life. Just few people that have been a support to your life and to your team. Can you please quickly do that in 1 minute?
Oh, my wife and my daughters, they've been very supportive of my life, and my parents, and my brother and sisters. So they've kept me working, and my organization has believed me so much. They've given a lot of opportunities to make sure that I serve the community of Tanzania. So all these people, they've been like a backbone for my daily life. So I appreciate each and everything they've been doing for me and what I've been doing to support, to make sure that we have the common good towards building the great Africa. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do have a beautiful evening. God bless you, really good. It's my great pleasure to hear. God bless you. My regards to everyone. Talk to you again. God bless you, really good. Bye for now. Thank you so much. Thanks to
Asante sana.
everyone listening to us.
Asante.
Thank you. Okay, thank you so much. Oh, please, before you go, can you please greet some people as well? Speak the language to some people in Tanzania. Let me give you that chance. Sorry about that. I'm supposed to do that. Please, just blow the language for a few minutes. Let people know that you are from Tanzania and
Oh,
you are the son of the soil.
I have some comrades who have been working together for a lot, that we have been pursuing the very common goal, that we have been pursuing strategic litigations. Like today, we have very interesting case in court. Like yesterday, we had the similar before the East African Court of Justice. So, first of all, I'm giving shout out to the team of the lawyers, which we are together in court today, and the team of lawyers were together the day after yesterday, conquering or making the better law in Tanzania, because one of the cases we succeeded. That and we have so many coming. So let us stay together and keep our dreams alive. So our eminable team should not be divided by any way. Let us fight together to make sure that we have Africa and Tanzania as a better place. Thank you.
Mm. Say that in your language, please. Can you please say that to them in your language?
Asanteni sana na nawashukuru kwa namna tunavyoshirikiana kwa kazi tunazofanya pamoja, mashauri tunayofanya mahakamani, ushindi tunaopata pamoja, kwamba tunapofanya kazi pamoja ni timu kubwa ambayo haitakiwi vunjwa wala kukata tamaa, kwamba kila tunachokifanya tunakifanya kwa ajili ya watu wote wa Tanzania na Afrika kwa ujumla. Asante sana.
Asante sana. Thank you very, very much. God bless you. Asante sana. We'll see you again. We will have this conversation again. So everybody listening to us in Africa, it's a beautiful time here. God bless Africa. God bless this continent. God bless the black race. God bless everyone listening to me. See you again. Bye for now. Let's enjoy this music. We will see you tomorrow by the grace of God. Join us tomorrow for another show. Tomorrow that will be hosting one of the kings from Nigeria. Enjoy this music and God bless you. Bye for now.